What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I'm still in Flagstaff, Arizona for the final night, but today we went to Santa's workshop. I took my wife and kids and we built some toys. We met with Santa. We saw Mrs. Claus. It was a fantastic experience that the kids will remember for their entire life. Highly recommend if you haven't been here. I mean, look at this. This place, it's incredible. This is Little America. I think it's the Hotel America, whatever. In Flagstaff, and they have this whole thing where they take your family to Santa's workshop, and it's fantastic. And the reason why I bring that up is because while I was at Santa's workshop this morning, my phone was blowing up with messages, DMs, notifications. Like, it just kept vibrating in my pocket. I looked at it, I was like, what the hell's going on? Apparently that video I published this morning about talking about Jirard being kicked from Sea of Stars went viral, where the video itself got over 50,000 views in a day, and I don't think I've ever had that happen before. It's crazy. And yes, I've made a few videos about Jirard and they get a ton of attention. And people are like, oh, the only reason you're making these videos is because they get attention. And I'm like, well, yeah, well, welcome to YouTube. First time. But at the same time, I also enjoy talking about it. So some could say it's a match made in heaven, a topic I like that people want to learn more about. So here I am talking about Jirard once again. And this topic is equally as interesting because I was shared a message from Jirard back in April of this year, 2023, where he was talking to someone about how he raises $600,000 to $750,000, not total, not accrued, not during the last decade. No. He said annually. And that this amount of money gets donated to different causes, Doctors Without Borders, St. Jude's Hospital, just to name a few. And he went on and on about how he does all this good work for everyone. And it made me think, yes, Jirard isn't the good guy that everyone thought he was, but beyond all that, I know a lot of people are talking about how he's a narcissist or he's so full of himself or he's a liar. And yes, while he may be all those things, I was thinking more about it and I'm like, beyond all that, he's a pathological liar. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com. I will write an article going over all this information that I'm talking about here because when I do these walking vlogs, I don't have the computer with me. I don't have all the information to show you. So please feel free, go to the description, click on the link, and feel free to read along with what I'm talking about from memory here, but actually having, the receipts and the information of backing up what I'm talking about. So, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. So Jirard in April of 2023 was trying to promote a new cause, to have people donate money for yet another thing. This was for the Video Game History Foundation or whatever. And he made this video. I just want you to check it out for a second here.
What's up, everyone? Preserved Play is happening April 15th and 16th. That's Saturday and Sunday in just a few weeks over at twitch.tv/The Completionist. We are raising money for the Video Game History Foundation. We're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, including the ability for you to determine what game I will play on 3DS and Wii U from our huge eShop video. You can donate money, pick a number, and I'll randomly pick a number from our RNG box, and I will pick a game from that list. It's going to be fun. We're going to have content creators. We might have game developers. We might have other fun stuff. So come on by twitch.tv/The Completionist, April 15th and 16th. Help us raise money for the Video Game History Foundation. Woo! Sorry, I've been into wrestling lately. I just say woo all the time now. Woo! 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 Woo!
And in response to that video, somebody replied on Twitter saying, hey, I think it's great and all, but shouldn't you be instead of worrying about video game preservation, actually helping people and doing something to really save lives? Video games are great and all, but you don't need to save lives. And Jirard replied to him. And this response really exposes the true character of who Jirard is, where he says he raises $600,000 to $750,000 annually for a bunch of different causes. And this is one of those things where because he's a nice guy and because he has friends and because he's well connected, nobody questioned anything. They just assumed the best because there's no way someone that nice and good-hearted, kind-spirited could be a complete manipulative liar. And here we are, now that we have the truth, thanks to Karl Jobst and Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers, exposing the complete sham of what Open Hand Foundation was and how they lied for nearly a decade about donating money when they didn't. And Jirard, sorry guys, from Boston again. Even in his call with Mutahar and with Karl Jobst, how he admits in the past couple years, he found out that the Open Hand Foundation was not donating that money. They were not donating it. And yet Jirard continued to spew the same drama. Oh, my mom, my mother. Oh, in honor of my mother, which is the grossest thing. I've said that a million times already. The grossest thing I could ever imagine. We're talking about your deceased mother and using her as a pawn in your scheme to fool people, to pull the wool over their eyes. And I know all about this type of person. I actually used to have a friend growing up we were super tight, and he was a really fun guy, super nice. Everyone loved him. But the more time I spent with him, the more I realized that he would just make up stories for attention, and he really didn't have that interesting of a life. And the more it got down to it, I realized he was a pathological liar. He would just make things up for attention. And I didn't even know that was like a thing. I was like, that's like a psychological disorder I couldn't even imagine. Like, why would someone do something like this? But now we have this situation with Jirard the Completionist that is literally making up lies about how much money he's raised towards causes, what he's donated, and how nothing's ever gone anywhere until his ass got called out. And I find it fascinating that all the way to this point, people are still upset at Karl Jobst and Mutahar for calling his ass out. But if they never did that, who's to say the money would have ever been donated in the first place? And shout out to Pro Wrestling Links on Twitter who sent me this, and I would not have known about it beforehand if he didn't do that, because I was like, this screenshot has to be fake. There's no way Jirard would have said, I've raised nearly $750,000 annually for not just the Open Hand Foundation, but for various funds and charities and donors out there, and never show receipts for anything. Just have people take him at his word. And maybe he just got too comfortable with people accepting his lies and not needing to worry about showing receipts for anything, just so people had the idea that this guy was just like the greatest philanthropist to ever live outside of Bill Gates. Like, that's what he was trying to get at for whatever reason. And it's just so strange. And now that the truth is out there, everything is crumbling down. This house of cards that he built for himself is all falling apart, and he has no one to blame but himself. And I'm sorry, like, with the facts that are out there right now, and after he made his video the way he did, yelling at the camera, getting angry at Karl and Mutahar instead of thanking them for bringing this to light, it left a really bad taste in my mouth. And it made me do a whole lot more research about who this guy even is, because for the longest time, just like many of you out there, I don't have the time to do a deep dive on every single human being that's on the internet. But when something comes up, it's like, oh, let's look a little further into that. Let's find out what's going on with this. And I think that's exactly what happened here with Jirard the Completionist, where everyone just let him slide for the longest time. And then this happened. It's like, okay, if he did this, then that means there might be some more skeletons buried in his closet. And if he did that, then how bad does it really get? And we're finally starting to see it. So yes, I got a lot more I want to talk about with this. So for those of you that are getting sick of me talking about Jirard, I'm sorry. First off, there's a lot of people watching the videos, so I'm making the content that people want to watch. I don't understand people getting upset at me making videos that they don't want to watch. Like, don't watch it if you don't want to watch these. Clearly, some people have a morbid interest in finding out more, but they feel gross finding out more, so they just want to get mad at the messenger. I get it, but don't write the comments where you're mad at me covering this. Just watch something else. If you want me to cover other topics, or hell, if you want other YouTubers to cover other topics, watch the other topics that they make, and they'll make more of those. Like, that's how it works. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.
Just to be clear, I didn't start YouTube to become rich. If, to quote Andre from Black Nerd Comedy, if I wanted to become rich and famous, I would rob a bank. That's like something that he tells people who want to get into YouTube. Don't start YouTube to become rich and famous. If you want to do that, there are worse things in the world. Smash,